Hi, welcome to the first video in this short series on the fundamentals of how computers operate. My name is Joseph Hawking. This first video is mostly going to be an introduction to me and to the topic, so if you're not interested in that sort of information, then just go ahead and skip to the second video. I'm a computer programmer who specializes in game development. I've made games on desktop computers, mobile phones, the web. I've been doing computer programming for a long time, and I even wrote the book Unity in Action to teach how to program video games. If you want to know more about me, let's say you want to decide if I'm actually qualified to be teaching about the fundamentals of computers, my website, newartiste.com, I'm going to link that in the description below. So that's me. Now onto the topic of these videos. For a long time now, I've been thinking about recording a few videos on the underlying mechanics of how computers operate. I'm talking just on the level of, sort of wires and switches, and so that's what these videos are mostly going to be showing. Me just at this table, hooking together a bunch of wires and switches to a battery. These days, computers are all around us. They're used for all kinds of different things. People use them all the time. However, most people are only used to interacting with computers through operating systems or web browsers, things, abstractions like that. And those are built on top of, those are very high level, and they're built on top of the fundamentals of how the computer operates. What is easy to forget is that it's not like computers operate by magic. They're not just these magic voodoo boxes. They're machines, and there are mechanics to how they operate. Now, I noticed there are a lot of resources online which teach how to program computers. That's certainly one way to interpret the question, how do computers operate? However, there didn't seem to be many resources that were looking at the underlying mechanics of how computers operate. And even the ones that do, it seemed like they were kind of skipping the first steps, the first couple steps. Just as an example, there's this course called Named to Tetris, and as the name kind of implies, it starts with this thing called NAND, and it builds up from there. But what is NAND? How do you build it? It kind of skips that. By the way, I'm not saying that the Named to Tetris course is bad by any means. It's a pretty good course. Definitely one that, if you're interested in, after this video series and continuing to learn about how computers operate, that's a good resource. My favorite resource, one that I recommend, is a book called How Do It Know? That kind of goofy, ungrammatical name is because the book is named after the punchline to a joke. But anyway. Meanwhile, a third resource, another book, there's this book called Code, which, now I've not read that one personally, so I can't exactly vouch for it, but it's definitely a very well-respected book, and so I'm going to have in the links below, just links to all of these resources. Finally, a disclaimer. I'm not an electrical engineer, and the purpose of these videos is not to teach rigorous electrical engineering. I'm just covering these fundamental concepts of computers. So the way I wire things up is going to be the simplest way that functions and that demonstrates the concept. However, I'm going to be cutting corners in order to keep things simple. So just, fair warning. Anyway, that warning out of the way, on to the next video.